Yes, welcome back to Groove Studios. Griggy here. Today we are looking at making a 90s house track from scratch. Today you'll be able to see how I use reference tracks to get my ideas going and how it helps to structure my track alongside watching how my creative flow works, how you could start your track. So yeah, let's get stuck in. So as you can see on the screen, I have got a reference track that I've found, an old 90s garage house sort of track. I'll give you a quick play of it. Organ, groovy drums. Yeah, really cool, really nice track. The track's called Sly Gonna Love You. Came across it on a YouTube dig, to be fair. So we're going to use this track and just see if we can kind of copy the drums, copy the sort of organ sound, and make our own track out of it. We're going to be moving quite quick, so this is going to be more of a video for you guys to kind of just watch, observe how I'm working. I'll talk through what I'm adding, what I'm taking away, etc. across the video. So cool, let's get stuck in. First thing I'm going to do on this reference track is just listen to. So the organ is the first thing that's shouting out. We could get an organ of a similar sort of sound. I'm going to be using all Ableton stocks just so it makes your guys' life a bit easier when you're trying to make maybe something similar. So I found this house chord just before the session. I'm actually going to look for some organs. There's a lot of cool organs in Ableton. If you look on the left, you can use the search tab to see what sounds there are. There are some cool ones. Quite like this one. Right then. So the reference track is quite a bouncy one. Quite simple but effective. Before we get going as well, I'm going to choose a key to work in. So I'm going to just go for a major key, probably C major. It's quite a happy sounding scale, so just make sure like keeps that 90s positive energy in the track. So I'm going to be adding this MIDI effect major to my organ channel. And yeah, it's set to C major. So every note I now draw within this MIDI is going to be in the right scale. Okay, so we're going to just draw a little melody. So the melody in the reference is quite simple, so I'm going to stick to a similar sort of vibe. Also, one thing I haven't noted is the groove. So I've got quite a default groove I usually add, which is the swing 16th, 66, which is a default on Ableton. Swings are good. The grooves are cool because you just add them to your track and it adds that more kind of human, like authentic swing and groove to it. Helps to make the track a bit more, like less stagnant in the groove. It's more easy to dance to. For now, I'm just going to delete that, not just to, not overcomplicate things. I'm liking the pattern I've drawn. I'm just going to take a bit of the reverb off. Okay, so I don't really want to copy the reference exactly. The notes I've drawn are pretty similar. You can mess around with like the reverse on here, so you can see press reverse on the MIDI and it will reverse reverse the MIDI. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, so I want to maintain that groovy sort of vibe. Bit of variation at the end of the MIDI will just help keep that interest in the track. Okay, what about this? I think it's sounding cool. I need a bit more like substance to the organ, so I'm gonna just add a bit of delay. Just a very small percentage, just to see how it sounds. Utility as well, you'll see I'll always add a utility for volume purposes. When you come to mix down your tracks and get the levels sounding right, utility for me, I find is the best way to get those levels correct. So I'll be adding utilities all the time. One other thing I'll always be adding as well is an EQ. Good old EQ. As you can see, there's quite a lot of low end, so I want to kind of just filter out the low end and make space for the bass and the kick. To be fair, the original organ is really dry, like there's no effects on it, so I might just try that. Okay, I'm going to stick with that. Quite a simple organ. I'm just going to rename it organ 1. And then we're going to move on to the drums, I think. A lot of old tracks use the good old like 909 808 drum kits. So what I'm going to do just for time purposes, this speeds up your production as well, is I'm going to use the 909 drum kit to get the groove moving. This is again all in Ableton. 909 core kit. It's in your, if you search in drums in your drum kits, you'll find the 909 core kit. Simply double click it into your MIDI and bosh, we have all the drums that we want. Woohoo! Okay, so now we can draw out the MIDI pattern, the clap on every second beat. Drawing out the drums as well kind of helps to get the ideas moving. What were the drums like in this one? A little bit pitched up. I mean, all we've got there is the organ, a clap, and the vocal coming in, so we could kind of copy that sort of vibe. Ooh, I kind of like that. I do kind of like that. See, you just experiment and see what kind of comes through. Bit more of a moody sort of sound. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. As you can see, I'm adding just a little bit of variation in the midis as well. So you got the clap. I've added 1 or 2 extra claps. I'm going to go and add the highs now, the closed hi-hats. Instantly, they just add that kind of bouncy feel to it, to the track. And then along with the hi-hat, or maybe we'll save the hi-hat. It's good though with the drum kits because you can see where the midis are landing, so you can make sure each drum hit stands out. So as you can see, I've got the rim in between the closed highs, the hats. Makes it easy to draw your drums out and make them sound pretty sweet. Okay, cool. I will keep that for now. Just that little 2 bars, and then I'm going to just copy and paste them. I think the rim's getting in the way a bit, so I'm just going to delete that. Keep it super simple. Another thing you can do is you can use this first 9 bars as almost like the groove making area. You know what? I'm just going to call it add locator. I'm just going to call this area the groove builder. Groove builder. So essentially, in the first 9 bars, you can basically you can add all the elements to the track that you're going to want to add. And then once you've got that 9 bars looping and everything sounds sweet, that's when you can start to build your track out. That's probably what I'm going to do with this one. So we've got let's just go back to this reference a sec. So the hi-hats are skippy here, really skippy. So I could go back to my drums and just add a similar. The reference is really good. It's giving me new ideas, alternative ways to kind of think about how I'm going to make these drums. Obviously, it's a reference, so you don't have to copy it for what it is, but this reference is, you know, quite a high energy, groovy sort of sound. Mine's similar, but I think I'm going to change the organ because it's quite a moody sort of organ. I want to keep it high energy. So I'm going to just filter the, add a hi-hat. Adding the hi-hat just helps carry the groove massively. Minus the crash, I think we've got a nice little groove going on here. Okay. What we need now is a kick. So what I normally do is I've got the drums here minus the kick. Kick's quite an important part, so I want to have kind of more control over what's coming in on the kick. So what I will do is I will go, usually a 909 is a good kick, so I'll search 909 in my drums, and there's a really cool one. This kick 909 ES is a real thumpy kick. Ableton stock, so you guys can grab it easy as long as you've got Ableton 12 or I think Ableton 11. Proper thumpy kick. Draw the MIDI notes in, 4x4 drum kick. What I'm going to do also, I want to make the drums a bit more punchy, so I'm going to go to my core kit with my 909 kit, and I'm just going to mess around with the samples individually. I'm going to just cut this clap a little bit. So all I'm doing is on the one shot, I'm just moving the arrow back and forth. That just changes how long the sample will play for. So shorter, less time, longer, more time. I want it probably a bit shorter, and I'm going to add a snap on, which just says, yeah, makes it more snappy. Right, let's see what this reference is saying. Yeah, so it's a bit more of a garagey sort of sound, which isn't a bad thing, but it's got the different elements. So you've got the intro, and then the drums in the drop one. Yeah, they changed quite a lot. So let's keep on working with the first bit, and then we can move on to the second part. I'm going to probably take away the open high just for now. And what I'm going to do is this is something I do quite a lot. So I've got the core kit. I'm going to call it 909 drums 1. I'm going to copy and paste this drum kit, and I'm going to just call it drum kit 2. Actually, now I'm going to call it drums 2. Drums 2. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the drum kits. So drums, drum kits, and I'm going to find a new, another drum kit that could be cool to work with. Sometimes just clicking a random one could be cool. You don't know what you're going to get. See, I really like that hi-hat. This one's a cool hi-hat. Snare's cool, but so basically what I've done is I've found a random core kit, another drum kit, and I've found this closed hi-hat within the kit, and I really like it. So I'm going to just use, I've got the MIDI drawn here, so I'm going to use that alongside my other drum kit, turn it down a little bit with the utility, EQ it, just so I've got the high ends. Just see what it sounds like now with the 909. So it just adds that layer. It adds that extra layer. What I could also do is pan it a little bit, so move it within the mix, maybe to the left, or sorry, to the right. Let's try another sound actually. Ooh, that's cool. Like that a lot. Very subtle. But as you can hear and see straight away, it just adds a real cool background drum to what I've already got. I'm going to get rid again of the hi-hat, and I'm probably going to use a different hi-hat. Okay, so drums are coming along nicely. Organ, back to the organ, probably going to change the organ noise. So what have we got in Ableton? This one's cool, I like this one. I like this one. Just gonna have this little 2 hit. Maybe add the open hi-hat. Just get the melody driving with the open highs. Yeah, I don't know, the open highs aren't... I'm going to have them all of a 1 hit. So if you click on the MIDI and then go to these little buttons down here, this is the velocity of the hit. So if you turn it down just a little bit, just means that the hi-hat's not so much in your face, which is kind of what I want. Yeah, the Reference is a really cool track, to be fair. Not really this vibe I'm going to end up going for, but as you can see, I've added some organizational points here about the drop 1, breakdown, drop 2, drop 3. So as I'm building out this track, I could even actually, I've built out the first few bars. I'm going to move to drop 1 and just start to build out the track a bit more, so add more elements to it. So So yeah, you can see with the organ, I'm just experimenting with some new melody ideas. I could also mess around with just taking away everything and just having that melody go. So okay, we're getting somewhere. I'm liking this kind of groove now. I think alongside these drums, we could do with something just to carry the track. I'm thinking some sort of hi-hat. So I'm going to add a MIDI. In fact, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my 909. Now I've got the drum kit here. What I can do is I can swap the open hi-hat in for a different hi. So if you click the little arrow, it will come up with this hot swap mode. Really good to swap in and out samples. So I can go down my closed hi-hats, open hi-hats. Quite like the analog one. So I'm going to just double click on the analog and it's going to swap it in for me. Yeah, straight away I'm liking that sound a lot more than the open hi I had before. Bit more subtle, but kind of what I'm after. So the grooves come along really nicely. In this reference, there's loads of different elements going on. One of them is they've got like a little vocal. So what we could do is we could, on this breakdown, we could look for, let's have a look. Now, the vocals in Ableton, like the original stock samples, not exactly. Because I've got a lot here that I've added, but to find instrument. So we've got a lot of different ones here. What I'm going to do is just search at Vox. Vox in it all. I'm not too sure exactly where I'm going to be finding a vocal. So for now, I'm just going to stick to just the Ableton sounds and just build out the track. What we could do is get the bass going. So got the organ. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste the organ and I'm going to move it aside a sec and just find a cool bass sound. We're going to just call it bass. bass. Let's have a look. So sounds, bass. Ooh, quite like the trigger bass. Gonna just have to, because I've copied and pasted it, I'm just gonna have to widen the EQ. Gonna go to the MIDI and just take it down a few notes. Ooh, okay, I like that. It's got a bit of reverb, so I'm just gonna turn that off. So now I really like that. That bass has just come out of nowhere. But that is literally the same MIDI pattern as the organ, just a few different notes. Add one of the drums, sounding groovy. Let's see what happens when we add the organ. Nice, now we're cooking. We are cooking. And as you can see, I've slowly just built the groove out. Working from this main drop, I've been able to kind of figure out some of the more like relevant elements, like the hi-hats, the bass. Now I'm building it in here. I can now kind of copy and paste this across the rest of the track. So I'm kind of sorting my arrangement out as we go. Within the reference track, you can see that they've got a lot of different elements within each breakdown. So, you know, I've got this first one, got the drop on here. I'm going to add a locator. So locators in your track is kind of where you can add notes. So you can kind of visually see where each part of the track is happening. So you've got the breakdown one here, drop one, drop number two. So I can kind of focus on, if I want to add a new element to the track, I can go to breakdown two. I'm going to just add this hi-hat. So I can just get experimental. Like I could maybe add the drums, and I'm gonna just, for some reason, I love to have my drums this like bright green color. Just put in all my tracks. It kind of helps to trigger ideas. Don't know why. Just is what it is. But yeah, it works for me. So I'm just gonna, again, with organization, it's just having your instruments in various like different names or colors, just so it works for you. You can kind of see visually what works. My kick's always grey, bass is always like maybe like darker grey, lighter grey, and then everything else is just a pretty mad color. So anyway, that's the breakdown. So I'm going to take away a few of the elements. And work on what we've got with the organ so far. I'm going to add maybe just like a one shot, maybe like a one shot pad. So if we go to sounds, maybe pads. I did actually beforehand, I've added some rave sounds up here. So what I did was you've got your collection, like thing up here where you've got the different colors. You can basically drag and drop different sounds to each of these folders to save them. So if I come across a cool sound, let's go. Okay, let's use this attack keys sound. If you press Control and click, you can add them to these folders up here. So let's add it to my 90s house and rave sounds. Add that up there. So when I'm making a 90s house track, I can go straight to this collection and I've got these sounds that are going to help me build the track out. I might even use one of these now, actually. Actually, let's look for a piano. Piano's like the perfect 90s sound. What I've done here is I've just been messing around with just layering different notes. What I'm going to do just to make sure I stay in key, I'm going to add this major to the piano. So all the notes I draw is in C major. Okay, it's sounding cool. I'm going to add a bit of delay again to the piano. Maybe even pan the piano to the left a little bit so it changes. Maybe add a bit of reverb. I'm going to just rename this piano 1. Add a bit of reverb. A bit of hybrid reverb just helps punch the piano through, make it have that little bit more energy. I think on the breakdown a vocal would be cool. So I'm going to insert an audio. Vocal. What vocals do we have? Okay, cool. I've found the samples.
Yeah. Hey. Check it out. No. Y'all hear that bass? I feel it now. Go. Check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. That one's cool. So what I'm going to do, drag and drop it in. Just call this vocal 1. And then just have it across the track. So maybe even have it with a call and response. So I've got this one vocal. And then if I add another one. Yeah.
Check it out. Check it out.
Check it out, it's cool.
Check it out. 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 Check it.
So what I'm going to do is I've got the vocal, I've dragged it in. If I warp it, I've got more control over editing it and stretch it. I can shorten it. I'm going to stretch it just a little bit so it's in time.
Check it out, check it out, check it out.
Sounds a little bit weird, but if I change the setting from beats here to complex,
Check it out.
it is perfect. So I've got a little call and response on the vocal. What I might even do is, I love pitching up vocals, as you would have heard in a lot of my tracks. So I'm gonna pitch this one up just a little bit.
Check it out, check it out.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Vocal 2, add a bit of reverb. Just a normal reverb.
Check it out. Check it out.
I could even, I kind of like it how it pitches back to normal. So if I have the higher pitch and the lower pitch, copy and paste it, add a bit of variation. Let's see what it sounds like on the drop.
Check it out. Check it out.
Maybe just add a little bit of delay to this one as well. Again, I need to EQ as well, just to make sure there is space in the mix. You can kind of see where the frequencies are coming through as well, which is always useful.
Check it out.
Might even pan this as well to the right a little bit, just to add a bit of, when you're listening to the track on the dance floor and it's like it's coming across in each corner of the room, you're like, oh, this is cool.
Check it out.
Also, a bit of processing on the kick. I forgot to put it to mono, so that's like an always go-to. I'm going to just EQ the low ends. Excuse me, just to make more space for the bass. In this video, you would have seen that a lot of it has been just putting ideas down. I'm just trying to show you my creative flow with regards to using a reference for structure and just helping me build this idea out to the point where, we're getting further down the track. It's not fully finished, but you can see kind of how I'm adding more elements to each part. So let's just go from the beginning. So I'm going to get rid of this organ that I started with. I could even bring one of these vocals into the beginning, because this first bar to like the 33rd bar is pretty much a minute, and that gives you time as a DJ to mix the track in when you're playing it live, just to have a smooth transition between this new one and the track you played before. So you kind of want to tease elements across that first little bit. You don't necessarily have to. In this one, I've decided to just keep the drums the same. Add the vocal as well. Adds a bit of, a few more elements as the track comes in. Maybe even take a few elements out, take the kick out for a second. Oh, see, I kind of like that. I like the very minimal drums. So if I just take the kick out here. I could even add the next vocal at this bit. Check it out.
Check it out.
What I might even do is I might just change where this comes in.
Check it out. 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 Check it. Check it. Check it out. Check it. Check it. Check it. Check it. Check it.
Quite like that. Just check it.
Check it. Check it.
So So then we can just add this little vocal chop. Maybe just add a few notes to the bass as it drops. So yeah, you can hear that the track's coming along nicely. It's turned into this like organy house 90s sort of vibe. So yeah, this is kind of the track from scratch. What I will do is I could finish this and make it like a template for you guys. If this is something you're keen to have, let me know and I can whack it on the GrooveCuts Patreon, the studio Patreon. Because I think, yeah, having a bit of a template, reference track ready to go could just help you guys trigger some ideas. All of the samples in this I've used are from Ableton. So yeah, the track's not fully done, but I think you can see how I've gone around this creative process, how I started with the organ, which then helped me push onto the drums, and then eventually get a sample in. It's got that real old school feel to it, this one. Processing I haven't really covered, but there are other videos I've got on the studio that will help you with your individual track processing. Yeah, so we'll finish it there. If you want this project, please let me know and I will get that over to you. Yeah, so stay tuned for the next video and hope you enjoyed. Awesome.